Hello and welcome to Fisher Bridge Productions. It is Saturday, June 28th, 2025. We are at the MT Washington Cog Railway's base station. I'm about to ride the Cog Railway up to the summit for my channel's 5th anniversary, and I'm taking you along with me. Hope you enjoy this video. I'll even try to link some of my early videos down in the description if I can figure out how to do it.
What is it called? Engine.
There we go.
Locomotive. Your brakeman out there is Joe. Joe, today is his birthday. No joke, he's 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
He also has another great accomplishment. He's a private pilot just a few months ago. So congratulate him and say happy birthday for me.
Happy birthday!
Yay. You guys have a great time. I'll see you at the summit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's gonna smile? Nice one.
No one's smiling. He was talking about me again, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, good morning, folks. My name is, actually, it's afternoon now. Good afternoon, folks. My name is Joe. I'm going to be your Up Mountain brakeman for your journey on the Cog Railway today. Now, a couple of things to note before we get started. Let's get this out of the way first. A couple things to know before we get started is that we're going to be going over some very steep grades today, as you all may know. When we go over those grades and you want to walk about the train, feel free to grab onto this handrail-looking thing. Actually, please, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Don't grab onto this handrail-looking thing, as it's very flimsy and it'll break very easily if enough force is applied to it. So please don't touch that. What you can use to get your balance today, hold on to the back of the seats in front of and behind you today. Now, something very important to note is that this is a no-smoking coach, so that means there's no cigarettes, e-cigarettes, and/or vapes allowed in the coach at any point today. If we see any smoke inside the coach at all today, it will be treated as an emergency, and we have necessary equipment to treat such emergencies, such as working fire extinguisher and first aid kit. Now, for the windows today, if you do want to open them at all today, I don't see you wanting to today at all, but if you do, simply push inward on the two metal tabs, push the glass outward, and then downward again. However, when we go up the mountain today, I'm going to ask you please keep your head, shoulders, knees, and toes inside the train at all points today. This includes all of your devices such as phones, cameras, and selfie sticks. We've had a problem with selfie sticks lately as they've been known to fall out of people's hands. We will not stop to go back and get them, and we'll always bye-bye your very expensive device. So please keep them inside the train today. One very important thing to note, folks, is that I will have my back turned to you for most of the entire journey today. This isn't because I don't like you, but it's because I need to be the eyes and ears for Engineer Scotty P in the back of the train today. He can't see the tracks in front of him, therefore I need to alert him of any abnormalities we see on our journey today. Alright, other than that, I think that pretty much covers all of our safety briefings for today. Actually, one last thing to note that I forgot. Our wheels in the back of the coach there, those are our braking wheels today. Those are what allow us to roll smoothly up and down the mountain today, so please, let's not touch those today. And for all you folks in the back of the train there, I think we're going to have a half-empty boat today, so if you'd like to move forward as we get started today, you are more than welcome to. Other than that, I think that pretty much covers everything. Uh-oh, it's my boss. Everyone be cool. Trainmaster Andy might have some say here. Okay. Second game? Alright, got it. So we're just taking that. Okay, that's good. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do a quick head count here, folks. Yep. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
It's like Isaac's.
Alright folks, so I'm going to get a quick call from dispatch here. Once I get that call, we're going to be rocking and rolling up our mountain today. Now as we get started, I'm going to ask you all, please remain seated. There it is. And so go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah, it takes 22.
You need the diesel engine.
Okay, ready to go?
Alright, here we go, folks. Alright, folks, now as we get started today, we're going to go to the first one forward switches. This is the lower base station switch. Once again, as we go through all switches, we're going to ask you all to remain seated. Engineer Wayne for sitting out there. Engineer Scotty in the back there, please be able to see the rating of the group. These two large units at the front and the back. Two large units to make sure you're all seated with them today. Now folks, as we get started, I do apologize if I slur over my words today. I'm completely out of breath. As you may see, we had our racing on here this morning, and I've been talking all day. We've been going around with our heads to train at different times of the day, so we're not sure what's happening right now. But what I do know right now is that we're going to go up time today and up right on time. But I do apologize in advance if I slur over my words. It's on the way my team. But hopefully, I'll let you know today. Now as we get started today, we're going to be rolling over Million in the Bridge. This is so wet and forward to this year. That's Tom River. And the other side of the rolling over the body of the ground. We're going to be really unpleasant. Now I'm going to be up to the ground and over the river. All the way down to this coast. All the way to the next one. We can edit it later. Now we're going to off this river actually starts in the river. A couple miles off the way. Right there. Luckily, 5 miles an hour is a luxury compared to our trains back in the day. See, before we had our biodiesels, we had our lovely steam locomotive fleet, but they only went a huge 2.5 miles an hour. So it meant, that means it took them an hour and a half to get them all the way up to the summit. Whereas today we're going to be about a 40-minute train ride. Now to put that speed further into perspective, our original locomotive, Old Pepper Sass, only went a whopping 1 mile an hour, which meant it took them over 3.5 hours to get all the way up to the summit. Now unfortunately, Pepper Sass is not in our courtyard today. If he was, you'd be able to look at him right down there at our base station. But right now, Pepper Sass is actually on a trailer at the MT Washington Regional Airport. If you guys are in the local area, I would highly recommend going down there and for a visit and saying hello to him. At the MT Washington Regional Airport right now, they're putting on one of their spectacular air shows where all their aircraft do fancy maneuvers and cool tricks in the sky. Now Pepper Sass will be there for the next 2 days, so again, if you're in the local area, feel free to stop by and give him a nice hello. Now let's begin our time. Oh guys, look at the moose! Oh, you guys believe me? That's a plastic moose back there. Unfortunately, folks, you won't be seeing any larger animals like the moose or bear around our train tracks today because of the loud noises our biodiesels make. Now as we begin our climb up Cold Spring Hill today, folks, you're probably wondering about how the magic works behind our railroad. Well, folks, it all goes back to the rack rail below us. This is the marsh rack system. And this marsh rack interacts with our large. We spent most of his time in the greater New England area, but spent most of his life in New Hampshire. Now in the early parts of his adult life, Mr. Marsh moved westward to Chicago during the gold rush, which at the time only had about a population of about 600 people. However, Mr. Marsh wouldn't find his riches within the gold rush, but rather in the meat packing industry. See, back in the day we had all these lovely steam locomotives that went to and fro across the country. But it still took them a while to get from the East Coast to the West Coast and back and forth across the country. It took them about 4 days of travel, actually. Now, because of this, all of our produce would go bad in these hot, smelly boxcars, excuse me. So because of this, Mr. Marsh decided to create the meat packing industry, which sealed all of his meats away to be transported across the country without them going bad. Once they arrived at their destination, they were still fresh. Because of this success, he was able to become a millionaire by today's standards. Now, unfortunately, these riches wouldn't last long for Mr. Marsh, as in the early parts of his adult life, he was diagnosed with a rare heart disease. Because of this heart disease, he had to retire early and shut down his factories. However, because he was such a rich man, he was able to retire very, very happy and very comfortable. Now, one day his doctor suggested that he would go out and get some fresh mountain air for his lungs. So he and a friend of his at the time decided to hike up the great MT Washington. Now the day started out like any other. It was a clear bluebird day, but they quickly found out why MT Washington was home to the world's worst weather. The rain quickly turned to hail and eventually even snowed. They trekked their way all the way to the top of the summit where they spent the night in the tip-top house. The next morning they awoke to find yet another clear bluebird day. And as they looked out over the landscape, Mr. Marsh said to himself, you know what? That was way too hard to climb up by foot. There simply must be an easier way to get to the top of this mountain. So he decided right then and there he was going to be the first person to create a mechanical means up to the top of Mount Washington. Now, of course, folks, this was no easy task. He went through several different ideas before eventually landing on the railroad system. Now, he went to Congress a number of times with his idea, but they shut it down every single time. He eventually went to Congress so many times they gave him the nickname Crazy Sylvester Marsh. Now, while on top of being crazy, he was a very stubborn man, that Mr. Marsh, and he kept with his mountain climbing railroad. One day when he was working on his bicycle, he noticed the sprocket and chain system he used. He thought to himself, hey, this might work. So one day he went out to the mountain with his bicycle chain and laid it out against the hillside. He put 2 conventional tracks between that chain, took his small working model, and discovered that it would in fact work. Finally, he went to Congress one last time to pitch the idea for his mountain climbing railroad. Finally tired of seeing him and seeing a working model, Congress just went, you know what, Mr. Marsh? Fine. We'll give you your mountain climbing railroad. Now, of course, they didn't do this without one final insult out the door. On its way out, they say, you know what, Mr. Marsh? When you reach the top of Mount Washington, you might as well keep going to the moon. Now, this, of course, is a very fond nickname we've kept through our 156, soon to be 157 years of service. So clearly, he went right somewhere. Now, track lane began for the railroad in the year 1866. It took about 3 years to get all the way to the top of the summit. 3 miles of track were laid, so that means about a mile of track was built every year. Finally, on July 3rd, 1869, Mr. Marsh took his first paying passengers up to the summit of Mount Washington. Once reaching the top, he gave a loud blast on the whistle, signifying their success. And folks, while it's certainly been a rocky journey since then, we've been bringing people up to the top of Mount Washington for soon to be over 157 years. July 3rd, actually, just a few days away, we'll celebrate our birthday. Now, just a few moments here, folks, we're going to be coming up to the top of Cold Spring Hill. Right now on Cold Spring Hill, we're on the second steepest portion of the line, that being at our huge 30% grade of further up the line. We'll be going over Jacob's Ladder with that massive 37.14% grade while being 30 feet off the ground. Now, at the top of Cold Spring Hill here today is the lower Wombeck switch. As we go through all switches today, we want to make sure you all please remain seated for safety reasons and to make sure engineer Scotty in the back there can see me signaling in through the windows. Now I'll be hopping off the mic here, but I'll be back to you all in just a few short minutes. We are officially through the lower Wombeck switch. Now, coming up here on the left-hand side is our Wombeck water tank. Now, this water tank has been here for many, many years, and it's still used to this day by our 2 remaining operational steam locomotives, that being WM number 2, Amanuset, and WM number 9, Wombeck. Now, something interesting to note about our Amanuset here, folks. She was built in the year 1875, which makes her about 150 years old today. Now, believe it or not, Amanuset is actually the second oldest, still operational, steam locomotive left in the entire world. She's only second to a locomotive built in India in the year 1855. So that means if that Indian locomotive suddenly decides to kick the bucket one day, our Amanuset will be the oldest operational steam locomotive left in the entire world. Now, younger sister Wombeck, she was built in the year 1908, which makes her around 117 years old today, give or take a couple years apart. Cog Railway. The only thing we know is set in stone is that we're going to always bring you to the top of Mount Washington, no matter what the weather. Except for, you know, when it's gusting 70. Anything past that, we're not allowed to go up. Right now, we're on our passing loop. And this passing loop, and as they pass by, make sure to give a nice big wave to the engineer, brakeman, and all the happy passengers on board. Oh, look ahead of the train there, folks. I can already see two ghostly eyes up there in the distance. That is our first down mountain train today, folks. Alright, folks, here comes M5 Metallic, our number 5 pilot who's on the Cog Railway. Make sure you guys make way, it's still passing by. Going further up the mountain here, you'll see another set of ghostly eyes here. And that train is stopping briefly to allow the engineer to press a button on our switch stand here. And that button is going to send a signal to our automatic switch stand off on the left-hand side to move our hydraulic switch back to our favor. Alright, I'll be hopping off the bike here, but I'll be back going just a short. Now as we leave the upper Waldeck switch back there, we're entering the minor portion of the line. This is the tracking the forest section of our journey today. And it's the last time we're going to see trees both on the left and right hand side of the train. Now something interesting you might notice about these trees today, folks, is that they're growing at a bit of an odd angle. Well, believe it or not, we are the ones at the odd angle today. These trees are actually growing straight and level, or plumb, as we like to say here at the Cog Railway. This is one of the many visual illusions we see on our journey up to the summit today. Now to prove these illusions accurate, coming up on the right-hand side here in the dense fog is going to be the halfway house. And the halfway house, as the name implies, is directly between the base station and the summit. Now inside the halfway house is a reflective window. Inside that window you'll be able to see just how steep of an angle we're climbing today. I would highly recommend getting your cameras ready. This is the perfect time for a photo opportunity. Alright folks, here it comes up on the right hand side. It's the halfway house. Get your cameras ready because here it comes. Pretty cool, right? Now something very interesting out there, folks. That house is exactly level with the mountain around us and all of our trees here. Now there are two ways of knowing this. Number one, there's a sign on the side of the building that says, this building is exactly level. And the other way of knowing is, well folks, you can just believe me. Now just a few moments folks ahead of the train, you'll notice our tracks zig off to the right there in the distance. This is my sign to let you all know we are approaching Jacob's Ladder, the steepest and highest portion of our journey today. As we go over Jacob's Ladder, we're going to be 30 feet off the ground while going over a huge 37.14% grade. But do not worry folks, this is probably one of the safest parts of our line today, as it's gone through a number of upgrades over the years. Here at the Cog Railway, we always strive for safety of our passengers, so there's no need to worry today, as we've gone through a number of features over the years. Now as we go over Jacob's Ladder today, while we unfortunately won't be able to see down the Philippines today, we're going to be being called running the needle, which is where we run between these two passes, one on the left and right hand side. to our left-hand side, while the ambulance screen is off to our right. Alright folks, here we go. Into the clouds and fog. It's Jacob's Ladder. If you haven't had the chance to walk about the coach yet, I would highly recommend doing so now. This is one of the very few places on Earth where you'll experience something like this. In fact, folks, take a look up at the front of the train here. You'll notice that my feet are inside the coach with you all today, and my upper torso and head are hanging outside the doorway today. This shows you just how steep an angle we're really climbing. This is the perfect time to practice your Michael Jackson impersonation. Now, as we finish our climbing over Jacob's Ladder here, folks, it's interesting to note that I'm actually 14 feet higher than the people in the back of the coach right now. This is all due to that 37% angle.
That's really hard. Look, I'm not even standing up.
Now, folks, feel free to do come up and walk to the front of the coach here and get as many exercises as you like today. However, when you do so, please do not cross over this line at the front of the coach, as beyond that line is the platform, and that's for me only. Sorry, folks, I did the best for you today. Now, coming up on the right-hand side of the train there, folks, is an old friend of mine, resting in the fog. I said his name already. Well, resting in the fog is Kago the Rock Frog. Now, Kago up here has the very important job of letting everyone know that we're exiting the tree line and entering the skyline. Now, Kago up here, he works 365 days a year in any type of weather. When it's been snowy, sunshine, he's always doing his job. So make sure to give Kago the Rock Frog a nice big wave as we're passing by. Here he comes on the right-hand side. The frog, the myth, the legend, Kago the Rock Frog. Now Kago back there, he rests at about 5,000 feet on the mountain. However, as we go further up the line today, when we reach the top of the mountain, we're going to be at 6,288 feet.
Look, it's complete nothingness.
Some very lovely ambient shots of our tracks in the fog here for any photographers on board if you'd like to come up to the front of the coach here.
Okay, I'm not putting my hand out the window. No. Oh shit, I'm gonna fall back. Right? Oh, it's so easy, look.
You should find a snacks.
Our water went who knows where.
Our water went all the way in the back.
We'll have to get it if we get there.
Now, folks, take a look off to the left and right-hand side of the train at these trees. Yes, believe it or not, folks, these bush-like structures are still in fact trees.
What?
They're one of the rarest tree breeds in the world known as scrub pines. Now, scrub pines are known for growing on some of the highest mountaintops in the continental United States. They're known for growing up here on Mount Washington, New Hampshire, the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, as well as some of the highest peaks in the state of Alaska and Maine. Now, scrub pines can grow year-round in any type of weather. Even in the dead of winter, when they're covered in rime, ice, and snow, scrub pines are still growing strong. In fact, some of our youngest scrub... Sorry, a little radio chatter up here, folks. 1 second.
Look out.
Alright, sorry about the interruption there, folks. We had some radio chat up here about my down mountain journey today. Now, as I was saying about the capstone number 4, like I was saying, all these numbers go all the way up to the top of the mountain today, and when there's any sort of problem on the tracks, we know the capstone number, and our maintenance team goes up along this axis and announce our arrival with a loud blast of the horn. Scotty loves playing with that horn. That horn also lets me know it's time to let you all know we are approaching the summit. Now, when we come into the summit, I'm going to be the first one off the train. I'm going to be guiding Engineer Scotty into our resting platform. Once your platform is lined, I'll hop back on and let you all know it's safe to board. Now, folks, regarding this sign above the doorway here, while your gratitude is always accepted, it is never, ever expected. Folks, I get the best summer job in the world, and I can play trains all day. There's simply nothing better than that for a summer job. Like I said, the main aim of the game here at the Cog Railway is to make sure we did a job well done, and you all had an enjoyable experience. And I certainly hope, despite the bad weather, you were able to bring that experience today. Now, folks, as we go through this last switch, I'm going to ask you all please remain seated. Engineer Scotty back there needs to see me signaling him through the door right here. Now, folks, if you brought any trash into the train with you today, please take it out with you today. Quite literally, I have 10 seconds up here before all these new people come back onto the train. So any trash taken out with you today would be very much appreciated. Alright, once again, folks, my name was Joe. I was your Up Mountain Brakeman, and welcome to the top of Mount Washington. Thanks for riding with us today.
We've made it to the summit of Mount Washington. heading back down the mountain to the base station.
Okay, welcome back aboard. Did you all have fun at the summit? My name is Terry. I'm going to be your down mountain brakeman. Our engineer is Nick. And going down the mountain can be a little more dangerous than coming up because of our down mountain grades. So I'm going to need to ask you to please remain seated at all times. If I have an accident, it's usually going down the mountain. It's because somebody stands up. They can do what I just asked you to do. And you can lose your balance just like that and come tumbling down the center aisle. So just be aware of that. If you have to stand up, make sure you hold on to the bench or hold on to your husband or your wife or whatever. Now, having said that, we have a lot of empty benches. If any of you would like to spread out and make yourself comfortable, feel free to occupy any bench you want. I can move my jacket if you want that bench. You good? You guys good?
Good. Are you good?
So anybody else want to come on down front where we serve the drinks? Everybody comfortable? What trail did you come up? Okay. Did somebody ask you that? They should always ask you that because one day I got two hikers on board, and when I got down to the base station, they said, this isn't where we started. They hiked up to Tuckerman, and they were 50 miles away from their car. Yeah, so your car's parked down at our base station somewhere? Okay. That's why I asked you. I wanted to make sure. Well, how about a round of applause for our hikers? They made it up to the summit. Why are you taking the train down? I understand. No, but that's quite an accomplishment. Now, did you run up like everybody else did this morning? I don't know if you saw all the action down at our base station, but we had a race today. Race the Cog. Happens every year. And guy beat us. He ran from our base station to the summit in like 39 minutes. 39 minutes. Beat the train. I don't know how much scenery I'm going to be able to point out to you. It's a little soupy today. If you think you saw the world's worst weather, this is nothing. This is just a balmy June day. 4 weeks ago we had 2 feet of snow up here. And just last week we had 129 mile an hour winds. We could take you up to the summit, but we couldn't let you out on a coach because you'd blow down. Those are hurricane force, gale winds. We could get any weather, any day of the year here. And as a result, we have hundreds of hiker rescues and unfortunately 3 to 5 deaths every year out here. Most people don't appreciate it, but this weather can really overcome you. You start out at the bottom and maybe it's 90 degrees and sunny on a high day. And when you get up near the summit, it's snowing, 30 degrees, 50 mile an hour wind. Middle of July, August. hiking and you just get cold, you don't realize, perish. Aren't you guys glad you're on the commit? So the Cog Railway gets a lot involved in a lot of those rescues and also taking down deceased bodies as well, unfortunately. Now you came right up this trail right here. Walk up here. I don't know if you do it, but if you walk that way, you'd have walked off a 1,500-foot cliff. That's the Green Cove. On a nice sunny day, people like to sit on the rocks and have lunch. They look about 100 miles into Canada. So where you were walking, you just walked over about 50 feet. Straight down. You guys live in New Hampshire? Oh, Chester, okay. Yeah, I know where it is. Do you know anybody named Carl or Judy Kruger? They live in Chester. Okay, they didn't either. Then there's a real estate guy. I don't know if he still lives in Chester. Gary Van, right? Something like that. He lived right in the Four Corners. He lived right in the, you know where the Four Corners is? I used to go to Halloween in Chester. That's quite a thing, didn't you? They still do that? Yeah. Can't see anything. I'm going to tell you a little bit of history, and maybe that might be a place you want to check out after you get off the train. But the original tourists of the White Mountains were the wealthiest people in the country. They were the Vanderbilts and the Carnegies and the Rockefellers, many other wealthy people. So many that they built 33 grand hotels up here. And Mount Washington is one of them. There was even a grand hotel on our summit for 100 years before the current visitor center. And what happened is when the automobiles invented, people weren't staying up here all summer. They just come up for a couple of nights. So all of our grand hotels ended up empty. And that's how they all went out of business, with the exception of June. How many of you have never been inside of the Mount Washington Hotel? Have you guys been there? How about you guys in the back? Have you been to the Mount Washington Hotel? You been there? Well, if you want something interesting to do on a rainy day, you might want to take a walk to the Mount Washington Hotel. It's free, and you don't have to be a guest. They welcome you. It's the most visited place in the White Mountains, and it's right next door to the Cog Railroad. You come out on Base Road, take a left. Just a half a mile down the road, take a left. A winding driveway leading up to what looks like a big white castle with a red metal roof. And when you walk in that lobby, you're going to think you walk back 100 years in time, back into the Gilded Age of America. The big columns and the big wide staircases and gold leaf murals on the ceiling, chandeliers galore, stained glass of the Grand Banquet Hall. Every time I go over there, it reminds me of the movie set of the Titanic or The Shining. That's the period architecture. It's magnificent in there. It's like a museum. And you can walk through there about 15 or 20 minutes and admire the architecture, read about all the history that's happened. And you're not obligated to spend anything. Now, you can spend money. They have several great bars and restaurants and gift shops and boutiques and other things. But if you want to just take a 15-minute walk through there, won't cost you anything. It's a really historical place. And down to the lower level, there's a pub down there called the Cave. It's closed to the public right now, but you can walk inside. 100+ years ago, that was the speakeasy. That's where all the wealthy tourists went to drink their bootleg whiskey during Prohibition. They never got caught once. It still looks like a 100-some-odd-year-old speakeasy in there. I like to grab a coffee and sit in the lobby. You got a lot of celebrities that stay at the MT Washington Hotel. You might see them walk by. Also haunted. You might see the ghost walk through the lobby. The ghost is the wife of the guy who built the place. Her name is Caroline Stickney. And she's spotted almost every day walking through the lobby. She's a friendly ghost, by the way. So again, that's something you might want to put on your bucket list if you're looking for something to do. That our weather system does, it actually pulls all the bad weather out of the surrounding valleys and up to the summit. So, I don't know what the base station will be like, but last trip down, it was pretty clear at our base station. And it was raining up on the summit, my last trip up there. I don't know if it was raining when you were there. But if we're lucky, it'll be clear. We'll get out of this cloud. Yeah, we're 35 feet off the ground right now. It's an elevated trestle. This is also the steepest grade of our trip. About 100 years ago it did. Nothing recently. We have this down to a science. We don't have many accidents, any accidents. We have a breakdown usually it's electronics or software problem. And a lot of those electronics and software issues can be fixed via the internet. So we look like an old train, but we're really a high-tech railway today. ran up this access road. This is an access road that's used by our maintenance department. So they ran right up that road this morning. Want to try it? You got plenty of exercise. Was the dual trail slippery? Wet rocks and stuff? We had to do a rescue over there a couple months ago. It rained and then it froze. It was ice. And people got off the trail. Instead of being on the dual trail, they were down in the valley and they fell. And they had to pull them out of the valley and bring them up to the train, and we brought them down. They took them off to the nearest medical center. The guy broke his hip. Fell on holding. But especially around Christmas, we decorate the huts with lights and ornaments, and Santa Claus is up here. We have Christmas carolers. Some days we have acoustic music. They sell food. You can cook the food over the fire pits. Free marshmallows. We let the kids roast marshmallows. And this is a pretty cool thing to do around Christmas. I think the tickets are about $40, much less expensive than today. So if you're in our neighborhood around Christmas, we have whole families. They'll drive up here from Rhode Island to Connecticut, Massachusetts, or southern New Hampshire. They'll do a day trip. They'll come up here, do one back Wonderland, hit one of our restaurants, and drive home the same day. So my last trip down, the base station was clear. Now it's clear here, but we've got what's called an undercast situation. I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I'm not sure what everybody's plans are. You guys okay if I make some suggestions of other things to do when you get off the train today? Well, is anyone going to North Conway? You guys might be doing it?
We're somewhere to eat on the way home.
Okay.
We'll be going through Conway.
You're going to go through North Conway? That's the best place to go. North Conway is our biggest town in the White Mountains. And it's about a 45-minute drive. You're going to come out our A station, take a left. You go right by the Mount Washington Hotel. So 302 east to 16 south. And when you arrive in North Conway, it's an old ski village. There's all kinds of restaurants, boutiques and gift shops and art and craft galleries, empty centers. We don't have a sales tax or a state income tax. There's an area of North Conway that's all the brand name outlet malls. So even if you're not a shopper, you can get some great deals. We have stuff marked down by 50%, plus no sales tax. They have the LLP outlet, Banana Republic, out today on 93. Who's going home? Well, if you're not quite ready to go home and you don't want to drive over to North Conway, take a right out of our base road. And 15 miles down the road in the opposite direction is Littleton. And Littleton's about a quarter the size of North Conway. You walk through the whole town in about 15 minutes. But they have a lot of local merchants and boutiques and art galleries. Pretty good selection of restaurants. Great restaurant in Littleton is called the Free House. Excellent food. And then there's Schilling and now Burritos, which is a Tex-Mex restaurant. And there's actually a brand new Indian restaurant, which you can't get here. It's so popular. I can't remember the name of it, but it's been open like about 6 weeks. And that place is always slammed. Excellent place. There's also a new seafood place in Littleton. I think it's called Surfside. That's also very busy. And so that's, if you're headed south, again, the other choice you might have is exit 32. That's Lincoln and Woodstock. Also a very popular destination. It's the Kagamangas Highway. The most likely place to see a real moose in the White Mountains. They actually have a moose bus in Lincoln that leaves at dusk. And the chances of seeing a moose are 97%. I think they have to try to retrieve it. But if you must see a moose, we'll take the moose bus. And good selection of restaurants in Lincoln and Woodstock as well. Black Mountain Bourbon Company. Gordy's Steak and Seafood, the Common Man. And over in Woodstock, there's the Woodstock Inn and Brewery, which is a very popular place. So anyway, there's a few suggestions for you while you're up here. If you're looking for something different, I'll be happy to help you at the base station. Or help yourself to our free literature. There's dining guides at our base station, things to do in the White Mountains. There's a lot of other things I didn't mention. But zip lining, you can go ATV, kayaking, tubing, all kinds of things to do up here. Short hikes to the waterfall. Notice I flipped the benches at the summit, and that's another $100 cheaper, much easier to maintain. But anyway, if you're interested in how that works, while you're waiting for me, you're welcome to step up in the center aisle and flip your benches so they're facing forward. You don't have to if you don't want, but if you want to see how it works, go ahead and try it out. Now, also, you might want to check out our gift shop. We have a whole bunch of new merchandise. And before it gets picked over by our tourists, they have all the good sizes in there right now, too. This is a good time if you need anything to check it out. So once again, my name is Terry. Our engineer is Nick. And it's been a real pleasure taking you down the mountain today. Hope you had a lot more than a train ride and enjoyed some of the stories I shared with you. And look at all the places you have now to go even have some more fun after you leave the Cog Railway. Now, I always invite you to come back. I know this is a pricey day, but every trip is a totally different adventure. Yesterday, my first trip up in the morning, I could see the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Casco Bay, Maine, 130 miles away. You can see 5 states plus Canada. So we have those days. Come back in the fall. Our foliage, by the way, because we have the world's worst weather, peak foliage is third, fourth week along the change before anywhere in the Northeast. Don't come in October, you'll be very disappointed. It's winter. But from the summit on a clear day, it looks like a Monet painting. Incredible. And finally, if you'd like to leave a little something for myself and Nick for a job well done, that's also very, very much appreciated, but not expected. And on behalf of the crew here and the entire Cog Railway, enjoy the rest of your day, safe travels. You guys have been a great group, and it's been a real pleasure today being your brakeman. Thank you very much.
Our ride on the Cog Railway of Mount Washington. Really hope you enjoyed the video. And thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share.